Well, I kept you waiting, huh? And how embarrassing is this? Because after weeks and months of making fun of Rey Mysterio and his one eye, there I was walking down the street when Seth Rollins appeared from nowhere, challenged me to an eye versus an eye match, and now look. Did I win? No, I did not. In reality, that's not what happened. I just woke up in the night the other day with a tremendous amount of pain in my right eye, and as it turns out, and I will quote the doctor, I have an abrasion of my cornea, which basically means I have a scratch across my looking device, and this sucks. I completely understand that karma has whooped me in the ass. But am I going to stop making jokes about Rey Mysterio's one eye? Well, you should have seen it coming. Because I'm not. But my name is Simon Miller, and for this week's episode of SmackDown Ups and Downs, I am going to be a pirate, and I'm going to say a lot of things like "Army matey," because pirates are really cool. Anyway, it is the go-home show of a Clash of Champions, which is happening on Sunday, and let's up those one-eyed downs. Why does WWE do this stuff? Are they trying to rewrite the dictionary? And also, if this was the first episode of Wild Wrestling Entertainment Television you'd ever watched, I can't even imagine what were you thinking. What am I talking about? Well, the first thing we had on SmackDown was the first ever Intercontinental Championship Ascension Ceremony. What the hell is that? Also, if you abbreviate it, it becomes ICAC. And nobody wants to hear the word ICAC. You go to a doctor, sit you down, he goes, "I'm so sorry, sir, but you have ICAC." You're like, "Oh man, I've got ICAC." Down. I still don't know what this was either. It was just words thrown into my face. And I'm now going to implore you to do the same across your day. Someone's going to come up to you and go, "Hi, Jim," and you're going to go, "Tuba, feet, gnomes." And let me know how you get on. Trust me, that person never going to talk to you again. Anyway, Corey Graves was interviewing AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, and Jeff Hardy in the ring, and AJ Styles couldn't handle any of this because he thinks Jeff Hardy is a cheater, and he doesn't think Sami Zayn deserves anything because he took the summer off to grow a neck beard. I absolutely love AJ Styles. Sami then tried to remind everybody that he had been screwed, and kind of surprisingly, Jeff Hardy actually agreed with AJ, and that's when the belts were raised up in this stupid, crappy ceremony. If I ever get an invite, I am RSVPing no. And I'm going to blame my eye. If it was also baffling, WWE then gave you this triple threat match like 24 hours or 48 hours before they're going to have a triple threat ladder match. Now, of course, the ladder wasn't involved here, but this was kind of kooky, especially because, as always, it was arranged and it was put into place by Adam Pearce. Look, this is me still waiting for somebody to explain why Adam Pearce, my brother, clearly is in charge. So I don't know. Still, look at the people I just said were in this thing. Let's gang it up. Poor Jeff Hardy was thrown out of the ring early on, and every time he tried to get back in there, poof, he just got chucked out again. At one point, he thought, right, I'm going to give it one more go, and AJ Styles grabbed Sami Zayn and threw him at one of the Intercontinental Champions. Back he went down to the floor. I was laughing my ass off like a human projectile. Hardy did learn to his credit and actually eventually was able to get back in there when he went on a bit of a flurry, but when he climbed to the top rope to hit a swanton bomb, Sami Zayn just pushed him off. See you, Jeff. The idea of chucking people around the place was key to the finish too, because after Styles had indeed hit Jeff Hardy with the phenomenal forearm, Sami Zayn, that neck beard, was back. He grabbed Styles, chucked him onto the floor on the outside, and he stole the pin, kind of to establish once again that he is the real Intercontinental Champion and he deserves some respect. AJ still doesn't agree with this, so he got back in with the ladder, he beat up Sami Zayn, and then he climbed up it, grabbed both Intercontinental titles that had been risen up there in the ceremony, and was all like, "Ha, this is what I'm gonna do at the pay-per-view." And I tell you what, it wasn't the best thing that the E3 guys have done, but the match was so good, and I think this ladder match is going to blow all of our minds. Or at least that's what I'm hoping. All this lawsuit stuff too, far be it from me, a bald asshole, to say anything, but I don't really think WWE thought it out It doesn't make any sense. We were in the back with Heavy Machinery, where Otis was saying that he does not trust lawyers and therefore he wants to sort things out with his fisticuffs. That's when The Miz and John Morrison arrived and they were like, look, it's nice and simple. Unless you do agree to drop the Money in the Bank briefcase, we are going to take you to court and we are going to sue you so badly you're not going to have any cash left. Because I suppose within the story, The Miz has all his Hollywood money, whereas Otis spent all his on, I don't know, meat. Morrison was filming all of this on his phone just to let you know that they're really aware of the current climate, because of course they were trying to goad Otis into attacking The Miz again so they could be like, ha, we've now got more evidence. But as Tucker pointed out, because he was reading the lawsuit, I guess he's Otis's lawyer, well, John Morrison isn't mentioned in this. So Otis then whooped his ass. Now, far be it from me to apply logic to this situation, but can't Morrison now just sue Otis? Or you're only allowed to do that when you attack somebody on the dirt sheet? Look, I love all the guys here. I think they're great. I hope they get pushed to the moon, literally, and they can set a house up there and just wave down at planet Earth. But it's kind of making the Money in the Bank a little bit too ridiculous, and it's getting it down. So I don't think that's the point, but I tell you who is the point. That is the worst segue I've ever done. Bayley. Flippin' wonderful Bayley. Up. She was out here still carrying that chair she walloped Sasha Banks with, but she blew off the boss here. She's like, I'm not worrying about that chump no more. I've got other fish to fry, namely Nikki Cross, who I have to face at Clash of Champions in but 2 days' time. Now, of course, the idea this time around is that maybe Nikki does have a chance, because last time Bayley fought her, Sasha Banks was in her corner. But as the SmackDown Women's Champion rightfully pointed out, yeah, but do you know why Banks is not going to be here this time? Because I took her out. If I'm willing to do that to my former friend, what the hell do you think I'm going to do to you? Do you remember when some people used to debate whether Bayley could be a good heel? Well, we know the answer, and it's a big fat resounding yes. Now just please don't do anything silly this weekend, WWE. Bayley doesn't need to leave her belt. That honor should go to Sasha Banks. There's a nice story with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross you can do, and we'll talk about that in a second. Shinsuke Nakamura then defeated Grandmother Metalik. How does that make any sense? Like, Cesaro also beat somebody from the Lucha House Party 7 days ago. So unless these three masked warriors are actually going to win the titles at Clash of Champions, shouldn't at least one of them have got a victory? So we think they're some kind of a threat. I don't really think they should win either, by the way. I think it's far more interesting if we do break them up and then have them have a series of tremendous triple threat matches. But still, it was Shinsuke Nakamura versus my nan. That's good. Up. The sheer pace of this thing too was awesome, and when Metalik went diving over the top rope and hit Shinsuke on the outside, I actually said out loud, that is more attractive than me on my best day. It's okay, I don't need any sympathy, I am willing to accept it. Unfortunately, he went for one too many high-flying moves. Shinsuke stopped that, put him back down on the canvas, and just kneed him right in the face to get the win. Cesaro then probably stole the show, but he didn't, but it was up there, because as the Lucha House Party ran in to check on their friend, Cesaro was like, no, I'm not having that, and he just started busting out moves. And I doubly like this because there was no shenanigans either. Shinsuke Nakamura won clean, and while you can debate whether that was a good idea or not, it satisfies me, and yes, again, the aftermath was so much better, because Kalisto couldn't be bothered with any of this, so Lince Dorado pushed him on his ass. And I was like, oh, the party is actually going to be done. We've all got to go home. So yeah, this is the way. This is the direction. Don't have them win the tag team titles, because then we're going to have to go back to Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro versus these three buffoons. You put something in place, now activate it. Bring down the sword of Damocles. We then saw Jey Uso knocking on Roman Reigns' door as if he was some kind of kid that had been sent to the principal's office. But he's one of these cool kids who's just like, ha, Roman, my bro, come on. I mean, he didn't give two hoots. And then we got like this kind of tribute video for Road Warrior Animal that was just a bunch of tweets from wrestlers recalling how great this man was. And he really was. He really was. I had so many of my, well, not even wrestling fans, they were just kids that like wrestling, texting me going, oh, I can't believe one of the Legion of Doom has passed away. And it really, really does suck. Thoughts with his friends and family, as always. I don't know what has happened in WWE over the last few weeks, specifically when it comes to SmackDown, but whatever it is, they've got to keep doing it because they're actually acknowledging things that have happened on the show last week. And I understand it's ridiculous that I should be so excited about that, but sometimes they never actually do. But Jey Uso was out here to have a little bit of a chat, and he just had one question he wanted answering, and that was, Roman, last week I saw the footage, you were giving me the smiles, but when my back was turned to you, you growled at me like a lion, and I would like to know why. You're damn right, Jey, you should be trying to find this out. It's kind of weird you waited a week as instead of going to Roman after the match and saying, can we have a little bit of a chat? But I'll take whatever I can get. From all of this, we did see Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman watching from backstage, and they just ignored all of it at first until Paul Heyman got up. He left the locker room area and just said, Jey Uso doesn't call the shots. When the Universal Champion speaks, it will be on his terms, and we'll do that later tonight. Jey Uso looked like then he was about to cry. This could be one of the best stories in WWE. Reigns is just such an ass. It's like you broke up with your partner, but they refuse to answer any of your questions, and you have all this mental anguish that you're trying to get through, but you can't because nobody is giving you any closure. I don't know why we didn't do this sooner, and there is a bunch more evidence of that when we get to our main event segment. It's an up. There was also another awesome video building up their match at Clash of Champions before this, and it honestly made me believe that it was the biggest fight I've ever seen in my life. It had emotional music like, it got me. Okay, so if you did watch the last episode of Ups and Downs for SmackDown, you will remember that I was a little bit concerned about one Matt Riddle, or at least what WWE was going to do with one Matt Riddle. Well, we found out tonight. They pulled him out of the floor, they got a gun, and they shot him right in the head. His push is dead, it's getting it down. Because after some promos from Mr. Bro and Baron the King Corbin, these two did have an impromptu match. I wasn't expecting this at all, and Baron won with the end of days clean smack bang in the middle of the ring. In one fleeting moment, Matt Riddle has now been established as just another guy, and I want to make it clear there's actually nothing wrong with this. If this is how Vince McMahon and the powers that be want to portray Riddle, they're allowed. It's their company, but it just absolutely sucks from a fan point of view because I'm desperate for freshness and I'm desperate for new stars, and I kind of feel like we bungled the ball. And look, I'm not saying I'm the biggest Riddle fan in the world. I don't gravitate towards him as I do some other characters within WWE, but it just feels like another guy that came up from NXT and then, pow, he got Karate Kidded right in the face. Because really, ever since he has debuted on the main roster, he's kind of been a little bit of a loser, and afterwards he addressed this and he was all mad. He was like, bro, I hate losing, it absolutely sucks, but I'm not gonna rest until I make SmackDown the bro show. Did you believe him? I didn't. I felt lied to. So I kind of checked out at this point. Don't really care what they do with Matt anymore because they have taken my Care Bear glands and they have thrown them on the floor. And look, once again, kudos and respect to WWE. They gave me another clean finish here and keep giving them to me. I want to swim through them like I'm in the bath, but it doesn't mean I have to like the result. At the same time, that's how I feel. I would have just gone in a different direction, and I also didn't really think Baron Corbin needed the win here. I don't even know what direction he's meant to be going in. We then had another video for this mysterious woman, and she wrote untouchable on a mirror. Oh my gosh. And I'm now 99% sure it is going to be a repackaged Carmella. Although, of course, deep down, I'm secretly hoping it's going to be Lars Sullivan, just to watch the internet meltdown. Right, what came next is the definition of WWE giving us a nugget of goodness and then taking the nugget and throwing it on the floor. Let's go through it. Because it was Alexa Bliss versus Lacey Evans, and while the match was fine, halfway through, the Fiend's laughter started to echo out in the arena, and all of a sudden Alexa Bliss went all zombie. Then we came back from the commercial and everything had calmed down, but then the lights in the Thunderdome went red, and that was way too much. Alexa was like, oh, here I come, I'm back from the dead. She absolutely lost her mind and even changed the way that she was holding herself in her presentation. And again, while this is B horror movie, I am really into this, and I'm massively intrigued to see where it's gonna go. It's getting it up. But why couldn't we have pushed the envelope just a little bit more? Because when she was in this state, she was punching and she was kicking Lacey Evans to the point the referee went, well, I think you've hit her just a little bit too much, so I'm calling for the disqualification. And I know that Lacey Evans was kind of on the ropes, but if we're gonna do this, we should go all in. She should have got a chair and wallop the absolute shit out of her. Just prove that you are super crazy. I don't mean the wrestler from the late 90s. I don't want her to transform into super crazy, but do something that makes we, the fans, go, I'm a little concerned about Alexa Bliss. Basically, if you're gonna do it, and we didn't do it, and we should have done it. Down. Thankfully, Bliss did once again hit Sister Abigail on the outside as Bray Wyatt appeared on the big screen and went, let me in. And honestly, the face on Alexa Bliss here, it was as if she had just been told she gets to experience Christmas every single day. Her grin was as big as the Joker's. Now, all I want to happen is for Alexa Bliss to cost Nikki Cross the match at Clash of Champions, and then you can segue off into that feud. I think it will be brilliant. And this version of Alexa Bliss is so much better than she has been for ages. She cut a promo beforehand too, where she was like, Lacey Evans is the type of person that sends her food back at a restaurant. It's a little bit weird, but I don't care. Follow this all the way, WWE. Please don't make me cry. You know how annoying that's going to be? This eye will do its thing, and then this will get all wet. I'm just going to look like a jabron. What has WWE been drinking too? And whatever it is, can you please put it in a syringe and inject it right into your veins? Because when Alexa Bliss was leaving, Roman Reigns decided this was the opportune moment to come out and address everything that had gone on earlier. But when he was posing at the top of the ramp, Alexa turned and glared at him because, of course, who was it that screwed over Bray Wyatt / The Fiend when it comes to the Universal Championship? Oh, that's right, it's the Tribal Chief, it's the big dog, and now she's all possessed, so she's not happy either. That was probably the greatest moment of my life, which means I've had a crappy life, but at least I'm peaking. I just love all of these story seeds, and I also love Roman Reigns, who decided on this night he would cut one of the best, if not the best promos he has ever done in his life. Why didn't we do this sooner? I will never know. Because although Paul Heyman was going to start off speaking, Jey Uso was like, nah, I'm coming out right now, and he interrupted, and that's when Roman, he took the microphone and he addressed his cousin and absolutely verbally destroyed him. He made it very clear that even though Jey is part of one of the best tag teams ever, he's not the guy, he's not the man, he's not the person to put food on their table, he doesn't understand the responsibility, he is not the face that runs the place. All of that belongs to Roman Reigns, which is why on Sunday, Jey is going to be killed. He didn't say killed, but he may as well have. Jey was having none of that though, and in retort cut one of the most impassioned promos I have heard in the world of professional wrestling in 2020. He even had this one line where he's like, do you know how people have treated me my whole life? Which one are you? Referring to the point that he's a twin. I'm not even a twin, I'm just some bald idiot. But even I was like, man, I feel this dude. And I was yo-yoing around the place. At one point I was like, I want Roman to win. I was like, no, give it to Jey. No word of a lie. At this moment, if a magical thing had come out of the clouds, Wizard in the Sky, and said, Simon, who do you want to win on Sunday? I would have picked Jey Uso. That's how emotional it got me. Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns then just left as if they weren't interested, but just as Jey was about to do the same, oh my gosh, the Tribal Chief, he reappeared from nowhere, and this was tremendously well shot, because you didn't see him in frame, and then he was there, and he punched Jey Uso's head off, and then grabbed him and yelled at him, like, you're going to take your paycheck and you're going to take your ass whooping, but you're not going to be the Universal Champion after the pay-per-view. And I'm not kidding. If it turns out, there's a new story later, that Roman Reigns broke kayfabe here and he meant every word, I would believe you because I believed him. He then stood over his fallen cousin and raised the title above the air. And WWE, you have done it. You have got me invested in Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso, something I never thought would have been possible. And like I say, there's a little square right here that kind of wants Jey Uso to win. Can you imagine? See, it can be done. You just got to tell a good story. This was excellent. Like, it really, really was. It is one of the best closing moments WWE has done in ages, and I am giving it an up. Supercharged up. It also meant that I left SmackDown this week feeling really pumped and really engaged for the pay-per-view, so I'm giving them another applause. I never would have thought that after Raw with Slapdick and Bowhead, whatever the hell they were called. Although, as an aside, they actually came at me on Twitter today, so I'm a little bit worried. But this episode of SmackDown, it gets an up. Once again, I am excited for Clash of Champions. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. And I get it, I'm ready, I understand, it's ridiculous. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, then head over to whatculture.com, read yourself some articles, follow What Culture on Twitter, What Culture WWE, and watch more videos with both your eyes on What Culture Wrestling, including the predictions for Clash of Champions. That's up there now, and if I do say so myself, I have some doozies. My name is Simon from What Culture, Rey Mysterio. You are now my blood brother. I feel your pain. I can feel like we can go through life together as one now, and I'll see you on Monday when we do up those downs for Clash of Champions. Go Jey Uso.